Hello, I'm Dawn Ireland, President of CDH International and founder of Cherubs, the original name of the organization, founded in 1995. I'm also the mom of a son, Shane, born with CDH in 1993. Shane survived for 6.5 years, passing away in 1999. I have served the CDH community for 26 years, the first 15 as a volunteer, and the last 10 as an employee. I created and maintain the CDH Patient Registry with over 6,000 patients. I also work on committees with various medical agencies and associations, including the Global Initiative for Children's Surgery, the WHO, the National Institutes for Health, and the Kids First database. I am also a professional patient advocate and public speaker. We have a wonderful team here in the CDHI Research Department. Jason Miller is our registry manager. Kamal Salah is a registry engineer. George Harb keeps everything GDPR and HIPAA compliant and our servers safe. Brooke Newman is one of our newest board members, and she will be one of our publication managers. And Darlene Silverman runs the CDH Research Library. We have a very prestigious medical advisory board here at CDH International with some of the world's leading congenital diaphragmatic hernia experts. Many of you may recognize Jay Wilson from Boston, but he is now down at the University of Texas Medical Center in Houston at the CDH Study Group with Matt Harding. Matt will be speaking today. Wendy Chung is at Dreams, what is now called Cares for Kids, up at Columbia University in New York. Augusto Zani is also speaking today, and he's at the University of Toronto Hospital for Sick Children. Pat Donahue is up in Boston at the Massachusetts General Hospital, and she's an absolute legend in the pediatric surgery world. Just down the road from headquarters here in North Carolina, Dr. Henry Rice is at Duke University. Dr. Giovanna Ricci-Pittoni is in San Matteo in Italy. Scott Adzik is at CHOP. Priscilla Chu is at Sick Kids, University of Toronto with Augusto. Jan Deprest is in Belgium. Dr. Paul Losty is at Liverpool in the UK. Richard Kaiser at the University of Manitoba in Canada. Dick Tibble is in the Netherlands. Mahmoud El Haiki is in Cairo, and he will be speaking with us today. And Naomi Wright is with the NHS and stationed in Oxford, England. Dr. Charles Carapina is in Johannesburg, South Africa. Stedman Peters is based in Alabama at the University of Birmingham, and he is also a CDH survivor himself. Badir Chaban is one of our UK board members, and he's at the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, St. Mary's in London. Gabrielle Cardone runs the Cardone Research Lab in the University of Utah, another one of our wonderful geneticists. Kristen Agner is a sister of a CDH patient, and she runs a CDH clinic at the OSF and St. Francis Medical Center in Peoria. Both Gab and Kristen will be presenting today. One of my favorite quotes from Hippocrates, other than first do no harm, is, "Wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity." Here at CDH International, we've gone over the history of congenital diaphragmatic hernia in our charity many times. Right now, today, I would like to go over a little bit about the history of the CDH Patient Registry. When we first started the organization back in 1995, there was not a lot of publications with congenital diaphragmatic hernia, very few population studies. One of the most prominent studies about CDH was an epidemiological study out of California by Claudine Torres. It was a very detailed study on the patient medical history, the family's medical history, pregnancy exposures, and it was very in-depth, and it took the entire population of CDH patients born in 1 year in the entire state. So it was an incredible publication, and it was very much the Bible of research here at CDH International, along with Prem Puri's History of Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia. And when we got to digging a little bit deeper, because we spent a lot of time at Duke's Medical Library and the medical library over at UNC in Chapel Hill, and this was before the internet, you couldn't Google anything, so you had to be at the medical libraries to find out any medical research. Well, we spent all that time, and it was very disappointing to see that there were so few population studies at that point, and that there was no natural history database of congenital diaphragmatic hernia. So 2 years after the charity was founded, we kind of threw up our hands, and after looking at different avenues and working with the birth defects monitoring program, and we thought, why aren't we collecting our own data? Why don't we own our own data as a CDH community instead of relying on a third party to do it, or the doctors to start a natural history database? This should be our responsibility. So that's what we did. We started out with an access form on a computer that was not hooked up to the internet so that it was safe. And parents would fill out a paper form, mail it in, and I would hand key in all 10 pages of their medical information. It was long and tedious, and for the first 2 years, I tabulated it by hand on my living room floor with all the forms spread out going 1 left CDH, 2 left CDH. But that is what we had to work with at the time. Then the internet came along and our first website was built, and then we took the data online. Actually, we took the form online. Most of it was still filled out by hand. So what we did was in 2010, the registry was on our website. People could fill it out via the CDH forms, which you can still join at cdhboards.org. And that is actually how you still join our charity after these years. But by 2018, Kamal, our brilliant engineer, took the registry and made the results live. So you can go to cdhresearch.org, see the tabulation, completely de-identified, no patients are named, no details of any patients are shown online. And it will show how many left-sided CDH there are, where the patients live, how many were diagnosed in utero, how many repairs they had. You can see all that information as soon as someone updates or joins a charity or fills out that form. There it is automatically. And so we've been working with that, and we host everything on a secure server in a secure location. George is amazing. He makes sure that everything is GDPR, HIPAA compliant, everything is safe. We never ever share your information without your permission. It's never identifiable, and it's been working well, and we've had a couple publications with universities, but it's not doing everything that it should. So we are still currently moving it over to the WOFAPS server, and Jason's going to tell you a little bit about that in just a minute. That is going to happen by the end of 2021. It's actually going to happen by the end of next month. Then the patient registry will begin sharing de-identified data with other researchers in order to take a more comprehensive look at CDH. And so let me and Matt and Wendy and Tracy tell you a little bit more about what that collaboration means.
I'm Matt Harding, asking you, on behalf of the Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Study Group, to join us to help fight congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
Hi, I'm Wendy Chung, asking you, on behalf of the DREAM study, to join us in the help to fight congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
I'm Tracy Meads, asking you on behalf of Cherubs to join us to help fight congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
I'm Julia Wynn, asking you on behalf of DREAMS to join us in the help to fight congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
I'm Dawn Ireland, asking you on behalf of CDH International to join us to help fight congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
By working together
To study the genetic components,
Neonatal care,
Surgical care,
family history, and long-term health of CDH patients,
we hope to someday prevent it.
find out if your hospital is part of the CDH study group, and if they aren't, encourage them to join.
contact us about participating in genetic research at DREAMS.
fill out the CDH survey at Cherubs.
all CDH families are invited to join in this project.
Your participation in all 3 studies is vital.
Together,
Together, we can end congenital diaphragmatic hernia.
Did you know that there are over 6,000 cohorts or patients currently in the Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Registry at CDH International, with patients registered in 74 countries? Only 53% of patients in the CDH registry are based in the United States, a little over 3,600 of them. 3.8% of patients, or 256 of them right now, are in the United Kingdom. Canada includes over 200 of our patients, Australia over 150, and 48 of them right now are in Ireland. Over a third of the patients, so over 2,500 of them, are spread out across the globe. The CDH registry here at CDH International, the only CDH natural history registry, is truly a global database. Something that we really struggle with, it's extremely disappointing and a little bit infuriating, is the fact that in higher income countries, such as the US, Canada, and most of Europe, the survival rate is 50%. That's 50% overall. All the children completely born, not at one particular hospital, but every child who's not diagnosed in utero, the ones who did not survive transport, the ones who are stillborn, the ones who didn't survive surgery, all of the children, the overall survival rate is still 50%. In lower to middle income countries, such as many of those in Asia, Africa, and South America, the survival rate is less than 1%. That is because they lack medical technology and pediatric surgeons to save these children. Often at CDH International, we get calls from pediatric surgeons in small countries asking what the standard of care for CDH is because they have no idea. Because our name and phone number is plastered all over the internet and we're a research entity, they expect us to have those answers. And right now we don't. So what we do is we take their information and we introduce them to one of the surgeons who can actually help them, whether it's someone locally or someone with a study group. And you want to give them information on how they can take care of these children in remote countries that often don't have a pediatric OR, don't have a pediatric ventilator. They certainly don't have access to ECMO or high-frequency oscillating ventilators. These children have a very small chance. But honestly, those 1% that do survive are usually the minimal cases, the ones who are late diagnosed, the ones who just happen to be born at a hospital that might be able to take care of them. This is completely unacceptable. Children born around the world should have access to care, at least a minimal amount of care. And that is why here at CDH International, we're pushing for a global standard of care that not just covers those patients who are in high-income countries where we are privileged to have our children born in places that are able to take care of them, but to also include those children who are born in places that need to learn how to take care of them. While we realize that not every single congenital diaphragmatic hernia patient will survive, every single congenital diaphragmatic hernia patient deserves a chance to survive. So what do we do about this? How do we help these children and not just our own children and our neighbors? Participate in the CDH patient registry here at CDHI. Fill out the form as completely as you can. Participate in all 4 of the genetic studies represented here at the CDH conference this year. Participate in any other type of research opportunity that comes your way, whether you learn about it from us here at CDH International, another ACDHO group, or your own doctors. Donate to research. Advocate not just for your child, but all of the children by raising awareness. And also make sure that you advocate hard like we do here at CDH International. All of these children deserve to have a voice. This is one of the many reasons that CDH International is at other medical conferences. We try to be at every pediatric surgical conference that we can, rare disease conferences, we're at NIH meetings, we hold meetings with WHO. We are everywhere we can possibly be to have a place at every table that we possibly can to be the voice of these children so that the world knows that they exist, so that the medical community doesn't dismiss them, and so that we're representing you and your children. Because you're not textbooks. You're not just what the medical journals say you are. You're more than just what appears on a medical chart when your child is in the PICU or NICU or is readmitted into the general floors. But you're the feeding issues you deal with every day. You're the developmental delays, the frustration, the PTSD, the insecurity from having scars. You're the whole picture. All the fears that we worry about these kids growing up or even just coming home. It's so much more than what the doctors know. So we fight very hard to give you a voice at every single table to advocate for every single child globally. And we're pretty loud. And as some of these doctors here today can tell you, we're pretty annoying as well. But we're going to keep advocating. But we need you to do so also. So let's talk a little bit about the patient registry here at CDH International. Jason's going to explain to you exactly what we're doing with this move over to WOFAPs and why.
Hello, my name is Jason Miller, and I work with CDH International's research team. Today, I am here to tell you about the exciting things CDHI has been working on as it comes to our family background research database. Several years ago, I worked with Kamal and George to host our database on a private server to allow researchers access to the wealth of data collected by Dawn and her team over the past 25 years. This data includes important patient family history like maternal and paternal chemical exposures, occupational information, and heritage. This data allows researchers to take a more in-depth view using information that is generally unavailable to them. At this point, I would like to take a second and thank every single family that has participated thus far in our research efforts. Every question you answer brings us that much closer to understanding the causes of CDH and how we can treat it effectively. Without your input and help, we wouldn't be able to help in this fight. We are here because of you, and I promise we will never forget that. While the current system is safe, reliable, and beneficial as it stands, it remains woefully secluded, cut off from most other researchers' databases, stifling the flow of information. Now, we are pleased to announce that CDHI will be hosting our database using Vanderbilt's REDCap system, allowing us to connect with an even wider base of researchers. This system is how we will join our research with the community at the World Federation of Associations of Pediatric Surgeons, or WOFAPs for short, which was founded in 1974 and has grown to be the world representative body of the National Pediatric Surgical Associations with a current membership of more than 100 countries. This move will also allow CDHI to more fully participate and help researchers in programs like the CDH Study Group, Care for Kids, and the NIH's Kids First database. It will also allow our partner organizations within ACDHO to participate in our database once we have finished the translation process. We look forward to keeping you updated as this program continues, and look forward to everyone's future participation in our fight against CDH. Again, I thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best.
Who can participate in the CDH registry? We will take basic data, one-page form, from all CDH patients. The full registry is only accessed by the parents of those non-survivors and survivors over 1 year old. We request one form per CDH patient, so if your family has more than one patient, please fill out one form each. Is your medical data safe here at CDH International? Absolutely. Your data is housed on secure servers that are fully HIPAA and GDPR compliant and are monitored by a professional data security company. Shared data with your permission only for research is always de-identified. That means there is no data such as your name or any other identifying markers that will come back to you. Who owns the data? You do. All patients or parents retain ownership of their data and can update, edit, or delete it at any time without any question. CDH International is merely the collector and protector of your data for research. In this way, having the world's largest CDH organization run by parents, survivors, and grandparents, we are sure that your data will not be sold or used for anything other than what we, as the CDH community, want it to be used for. We will never hire third-party data collection companies to collect your data or to profit off of it. We work with many associations and entities to help push congenital diaphragmatic hernia research, including the Alliance of Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Organizations. We're also a founding member of the New Surgical Congenital Anomalies Alliance. We're members of WOFABS. We are members of ELSO, which is the Association of ECMO Specialists. We're members of EURORDIS, which is the European Rare Disease Association. We're members of Rare Disease International, the National Organization of Rare Diseases, the Canadian Organization of Rare Diseases, several other rare disease entities. We have committee seats or working projects with the World Health Organization, Global Initiative for Children's Surgery, the Kids First Database at NICHD, and the National Institutes of Health. We are on the committee for the Friends of NICHD. We're in the Rare Disease International UN Project Committee. We're a part of the CDH study group and that we present research at their events. We're members of Cares for Kids, helping to connect them with you. Other than all the things we previously discussed in this presentation, we do many other things here in the research department of CDH International. We created the CDH phone app, which you can download for free on Apple or Google Play. Within that app, there's a parent reference guide, the forums, the registry, anything that a new parent or a surgeon or other researcher may need. It's right there in that app. Research library, connections to surgical apps, even has a little social media section where we can talk to each other if we want to. But within that app is also a map of CDH treatment centers. The map was created from a list of participants in the CDH study group and Cares for Kids. In that map, hospitals have the ability to update us on their information, the treatments they provide, the number of patients that they see in any given year, how many of those patients survive, and what that includes. Parents can also review hospitals. The wonderful thing about that map is that you can see the location of these centers, what is near to you, and who is offering treatment, so that you have accurate, unbiased information rather than Googling and seeing who's paid for the most marketing. Because to be honest and be fair, too many families are going over to too many other places to receive care that they could have received in their backyard, and they're losing homes and jobs and uprooting siblings, and it's very frustrating. But not just here in the US, we want patients globally to see where their options are as well. And by accrediting hospitals, using the information on this map, using the global standard of care that hopefully the study group will come out with soon, if not, made a big speech and announcement here. We can cross our fingers and hope that they make a big announcement here. But if not, as soon as that's done, we want to use that information, use this app, use the reviews from families, have a broad picture of the global care for these children, and start accrediting these centers. As the world's oldest and largest CDH nonprofit and the one who runs a natural history database for these patients, we are in position to do so, and we will do so within the next year. These kids deserve the absolute very best, and we're going to demand that they get it. Currently, in our research department here at CDH International, we've got several collaborations going on for data research. We look forward to many more once the data is fully moved over to the WOFAP server by the end of next month. The New Surgical Congenital Anomalies Alliance is starting now. We have a lot to look forward there, and we can't wait to announce more. The Global Standard of Care work is ongoing. Hospital accreditation will formally start in 2022. And we're going to announce more research NGOs from CDH International by the end of the year. So stay tuned. Something else that we do here at CDH International are we are global patient advocates, not just for CDH, but for rare disease as well. I travel a lot. You may have seen the photos or the blog post in our website or our newsletter. And I speak at medical conferences, speak at the study group conference, I speak at GICS. I'm also honored to have been the keynote speaker at several small medical conferences. By advocating for these patients at medical conferences, we can extend our network. By extending our network, we're able to get more information out to the other specialties that deal with CDH, the ECMO specialists, the neonatologists, the obstetricians, the ultrasound techs, the respiratory techs, all the people who work with our children, who come in contact with patients, who can better connect us with families, and these people that we can update on the latest research. So we go to these events, we have vendor tables, we speak, we shake hands, we network, we build a stronger network for you to give our children a bigger voice. And it's been very successful. By being at these conferences, knocking on doors, shaking hands, raising our voices, demanding a seat at the tables, research for CDH has really progressed since the inception of CDH International from Cherubs. Never did we dream. Well, yes, we did dream. We dreamed and we begged and we hoped, honestly, for a standard of care for our kids. But it wasn't until we started pushing and pushing and pushing that that became reality. When we were there, when our faces were in the rooms, when we were at the meetings, and when we are raising our hands and standing behind the podium speaking up for our children, did research really start taking off for our kids. And by advocating for these children and giving them a voice and demanding a seat at the table, we're able to work harder for you and to fight for these kids, not just the ones who are in the NICU, but for these kids who are aging out of care, for the families who are traumatized, for our grieving families who mourn their children every single day, and for all of these babies fighting, and for those yet to be born who will continue to fight. We've been here for 26 years. We've watched the CDH research community grow. We've watched the patient community grow. We've become stronger and stronger with every year. We've made great strides, and you're going to learn about quite a few of them here at this conference this week. But we have a lot farther to go. We can't rest on our laurels. We can't relax and say, oh, this is great. They've got it. The researchers have it. It's a team effort. They need to work with us, and we need to work with them, and we all need to fund this research. So join us. Participate in the research initiatives. Fill out the study. Make sure that you give samples to all the genetic studies. Donate, fundraise, and help us to fight for your children. We're not going anywhere, not until CDH is gone. So fight with us. Fight with the whole CDH community together. Learn more about what you can do tomorrow at the 2021 Global CDH Conference here at CDH International.